But I never played on those things very well, so that's why I stuck with pad once I started playing games on console. But personally, like I said, you're gonna probably find this version, and I would suggest sticking with this version. It's, even though it's a square gate, some people say round is better, square is better. I honestly don't think it matters, and I personally, I have both, and I like square gate. It lets me do exactly what I want, and there's really no complaints. And what I suggest is, if you get a fight stick like this that comes with a square gate, use it. Get good at the fight stick first, and then experiment with the circle gate, or try maybe a different layout or something. Because I mean, you really have to get used to something first, and if you think that changing a gate to a circle is going to help you, you probably don't have the right fundamentals first to be able to do the move that you're trying to do. You can do that on a square gate just as easily as you can a round gate. Like I said, it's just a preference thing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and get a round gate. I'm just saying, give square a shot first, especially if you're learning, because it's not going to, putting a round gate in there is going to magically have you do perfect DPs and stuff. So enough about that. My button layout, as you can tell, it's pretty much standard. It's light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. All three punches, all three kicks. And another thing too is, when you're using a fight stick, there's no wrong way to use a fight stick. You can switch all the buttons around all you want. There's nothing wrong with using all three punch buttons, all three kicks. I know in the beginning I kind of thought it was cheap, because I was used to having only 6 buttons. Like, oh, it's so easy. You can mash ultra, mash super, but you can really do that anyway. It doesn't really matter. You use what's comfortable for you. And there are times where I have to rely on this because my execution can be off. And if I'm doing a Balrog Ultra and I get a super because I accidentally rolled my thing, you can end up losing a match that way. So it's a quick fix to do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Pros do it. A lot of people do it. Don't feel like because you have a fight stick you have to act like a pro, because even pros do that. You can see pros mashing. They just do what gets the job done, and that's really all that matters. So, with that all in mind, hopefully you got a fight stick nearly like this. We're going to go into training mode, and we're going to work with the fight stick a little bit here. Okay. I'm already in training mode. I'm going to back out and change my character. Now this goes for any game that you're playing, but I really suggest getting a copy of Street Fighter 4, whether it's old or new, because I think this is one of the best games to learn a fight stick on. First off, the inputs are far easier to do. Even when you do mess up, you still get the moves, so it's not as frustrating. If you're playing a game like King of Fighters, where everything's really time dependent and execution has to be on point, you can find yourself being real frustrated when you're learning the fight stick. I also think Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3 is another one that's pretty easy to do, but that's a completely different style, and I prefer that Street Fighter 4 would be the best training tool. So of course, learning a Shoto is probably one of the best characters to learn with. And just keep this in mind too. If you've been a pad player and you're trying to learn, different characters, and you find that yourself like, I only like Ryu and I've been using a pad, I don't want to use a different character. Well, when you get a fight stick, you have to forget all that. You have to forget who your favorite character is, because believe it or not, now you can play any character. Theoretically, you can learn any character. I know certain characters are really hard to use in a pad, but with a fight stick, you really don't have any limits. And you might find yourself character hopping like I do, or having a completely new character that you find is much more easier to use, or more comfortable, or more fun. It really comes down to that. You don't have to be good at this game. You just have to have fun. So, here we go. Now we have Ryu. Ryu has a lot of basic moves that are repeated in a lot of the characters in the game, like your Hadouken, right? And then you have Hurricane Kick, which is down, back, all, any kick button that you want to use, and the Dragon Punch. Those are the main ones, right? Now, without going over every little move that you can do, I'm really going to stress the fact that when using a fight stick, your biggest concern is going to be the fight stick itself, not any of these buttons. Of course, there's other things, only in Street Fighter 4, by the way, where you can do plinking, where you can get double inputs for 1 frame and all this other stuff. You're not really have to concern about that. When you play and you're first learning a fight stick, concentrate on doing single button inputs. Worry about the other stuff later. And double input is also good to do too. Because of the leniency in this game and a lot of other games too, there's nothing wrong, and most people do it who are more comfortable with it because they find out that sometimes, like right there, you do it too soon, you don't get your move, but you double it up and you're gonna get something. Maybe a Dragon Punch, but that's not because of a double tap. So with Ryu, the first thing you're gonna want to do, let's say you just got your fight stick, man, you're ready to go, you want to learn, you want to get in and do some crazy ass combos, so you have to take it back a whole lot of notches before you get there. So with Ryu, we know he has a Hadouken. Now,